Yep, so I'm going to get started. This is a Revu demonstration. We're using Revu 2019. If you are aware, an update did come in just the last day or so, which has some small improvements and some small bug fixes. So yeah, it's good if you're using the current version. Yeah, 2019, as you know, is probably a lot different to the 2018 or 2017 Bluebeams you've been using. The interface is a lot different. The rendering's a lot smoother and faster, and it also has some improvements in the scaling where it comes up straight away to give everyone that prompt to calibrate their sheets. So I'll start the demo. Yep, so we're just going to go through some tips and tricks today, just some essential Bluebeam tips that will help you be faster and quicker and a bit more productive in Bluebeam. So these are some tips that we got from clients as well. So it's good to share all that information together and make sure that we're using it to its full efficiency. About Cloud A2K, so we're a company which works through software and hardware solutions in training, development, and managed services. We've got a lot of staff that are industry experienced and in the architecture, engineering, construction, infrastructure, and manufacturing sectors. About me, I did my structural apprenticeship in the mid-90s and I've been in the industry ever since, so over 25 years. I've worked at a lot of tier 1, mid-tier and smaller consultancies such as sort of Arup, Worley Parsons, Northrop, SMEC, and a lot of other companies as I was contracting around the place. I'm certified Bluebeam trainer, Autodesk Revit professional. I've been using Bluebeam since about 2014 and Revit since 2010 and Dynamo as well. I'm on LinkedIn as well if you want to friend me. About Bluebeam, so 2002 Bluebeam started. So it's pretty global now. So there's, I think that's even gone up a bit now. I think that's around 2 million users around the globe and it's sort of growing. So especially it has had a bit of a boom as well with everyone working from home and using it as more of a collaboration tool. So in sessions and the like, and a lot of the top contractors, builders use it in the world. So it's quite a big software. That's the basic interface, which we all know. So you've got the panel access, menu bar, properties. I'm not really going to go through it from first principles. So we're more showing some tips and tricks. But yeah, I will show what the things are and how to use them as we go. So it's a PDF system, so that can contain all the metadata. So even with 3D drawings and the like, you can put hyperlinks in there, bookmarks, file attachments. So you can put a lot of images in as well and hyperlink to those images. So it becomes a real good collaboration tool between the office and somewhere on site where they can put a photo straight into those drawings and then you can see the full site. It does deal with 3D data as well. So you can create from Revit a 3D PDF. So I may show that as well. So I've got a couple of tips from clients that came in. So one from Scully Song Construction, Dennis Havworth there. He's said that one of the great tips is with programmable mouse. So if you use a programmable mouse, you can have all the buttons assigned to sort of redo, undo areas and perimeters and the like. And you can use the hotkeys to its full utilization. So I will flip to Revu now. And if you do go under the help tab at the end, you will find that there is a keyboard shortcuts guide. So if you do use this keyboard shortcuts guide, you do find it's got a lot of the keyboard shortcuts through there. So these are a lot of the inbuilt shortcuts. And you can assign these using a programmable mouse to what you want it to do. So everything does have a hotkey to it. So you've got all your sheet controls and document controls, all your window controls, going through to your measurement tools as well. So this comes straight from the Revu. So these are the standard settings, and you can get that list in through your help. So under the help and keyboard shortcuts here. If you go through the tools and the tab menus as well, you will see that all the hotkeys as well are all through here. So especially on your tools and your markup tools. A lot of them do use the common sense ones. So P for pen, H for highlighter, Shift E for erase, L for line, arrow, etc. So a lot of them are all quite straightforward. And you can see all the controls through there. So it is good to use the hotkeys to obviously make yourself a bit quicker. And it's sort of good that they are locked down to a degree. So these hotkeys are generally available to anyone who uses your Bluebeam. They're all the same hotkeys. So it makes it quite useful. So that's just with the programmable mouse, it does make it a lot easier if you've got all those buttons on your mouse, and you can be more efficient that way through there. Tip number 2, so I'm going to go through this a bit more in depth. So this came from Taz Construction Group and Josh Jones. So you can sketch to scale. So a lot of people do use these items here to actually draw full drawings in Bluebeam. So Bluebeam isn't a drafting software. Like a lot of us are probably coming from things like Revit, AutoCAD and the like. So it's not really to compete with them, because obviously their number one job is to do the drafting tools. So these are tools that are inbuilt in Bluebeam, where you can use them to produce sketches. You can produce title blocks, different items that you have, you can reuse, and it's all to scale and applying that scale. So we'll go through that a bit more in depth. So you can see here as well where we've got all the items to scale. We've measured off perfectly, and all those items just work. So I'll now go through and show some of those in actual demos. So I'm going to go to Bluebeam, and I'm just going to start a new project. So I can start a new PDF. We can put in templates as well. So if you do create like a title block sheet, you can save this as a template and have a sheet come up through there. But I'm just going to start a new PDF from here. And it will come up with our size. So I'm just going to use a A3 sheet. So you've got the ISO A3s in there. You can change these sheets through your administrator. So you can also change the sheets that you wanted to, and you can have it as a portrait or landscape as well. And that gives us our basic sheet there. Now, what we haven't done is we haven't applied a scale at all to this sheet. So this is the panel access through here. So the first thing I want to really do is give it a measurement. So I can calibrate this sheet and give it a 1 to 100. So I can give it 1 centimeter. Give it the 1 to 100 scale there. So what I can do with this is I can actually start to draw, and I can draw to scale as well. So now that I've got this calibrated, I can use my tools here and use sketch to scale. So this will allow you to actually draw lines and to use the drafting facilities in Bluebeam. So if I do a polyline sketch to scale, I'll see that if I drop that line there, and I can give that a length, and that will be a to scale length. So you can hold shift down as well. So shift will snap it to a degree. So you can sort of see there, if I hold shift down, it will snap to that 0. And if I don't, it sort of has that free rotation. It does snap as well. If I hold shift down, it will snap to like the 45 degrees. So we can see there it's snapped to 45 degrees and 90 as well. So shift will make it snap around to those 45-degree angles. And then you can start to draw something that's 6 meters. long. And again, by holding shift down, you can snap it down and make that like 10 meters down. So again, it's just L for line, shift down. You do need to use, so I did just use plain line there. So you do need to use the sketch to scale tools. So from sketch to scale, you've got your polyline through there. And you can tab. So if you wanted to give it a real, so I can see that that's snapped there to the 5 meters. If I do hit the tab button, that will then allow me to make that sort of at minus 75 degrees. So you can see how I've got a line there that's came from that point, which is 5 meters at a minus 75 degree angle, and hit enter to finalize it. And that's put that line in. I did escape again out of that. So make sure that you hit enter instead of escape. You can do polylines and rectangles as well. So if you did want to do a rectangle, the same sort of process works. So you pick a point, it does stretch out to the different degrees there, and you can use those items to like go 10 meters by 5 meters, and by just tabbing through and hit enter, and then it will place your rectangle on. You can obviously change all that as well. So if you wanted it to be a blue box or a thicker line, dashed line, etc., or even through your manage and put a stormwater line in if you did want to. Changing the thickness as well is all through here. So that's how you can simply do something to scale. What you can do is you can use this as a full drafting tool. So again, what I'll do is I'll just sort of make this a bit of a cupboard. So sketch to scale, polyline again. And what I can see is I'm not really picking up a center line there. So what I may need to do is go in through my Revu and go to my preferences. And then I can make sure that my tools, when I go under sketch, it's under general and the snapping. And I can make sure that we're going to snap to midpoints, snap to lines, snap to markup, etc. So this is a markup because even though they're lines, it's not really content, they're more markups on the sheet. So I do want to snap to markup. And I can see here I do have snap to midpoint selected and snap to endpoints and intersections. So what I do need to do through here is actually snap to my markup. So if I click that snap to markup there, that's where if I now go to do my polyline to scale, it will snap to that midpoint. So I can see how it's picked off that midpoint right there. And I can snap it to that one. And stop hitting escape and keep hitting enter. So again, snap to scale, midpoint, midpoint, and enter. And that's put that line in. Again, sketch to scale. So you can also do ellipse and a circle. So again, I'll go through tools, sketch to scale, and get ellipse. And with this, again, you can see how it's sort of got that magnet in there. So it will snap to the midpoint. And I can get a radius in through here. So that's where I can do an actual radius of 2.5 meters. So the shift as well works on that to sort of snap it between, and you can also get your tool in through there. So I can put that in there and enter. So what I can do now is easily save that to my toolbar. So if I select all those items, what I can do is group them. So if I right click and I can group those items. So one of the tips to use in Bluebeam is if in doubt, right click it out. So if you right click, you generally get all the actions you can do on this. So you can make a group of that, and I can right click and add that to my toolbar as well. So if I add to tool chest, and I can add this to my tools. And now I can see you've always got through your tool chest, you've always got your recent tools. And I've just added that into my tools as well. So to make a new tool chest, if you click under the tool chest, you can go to manage tool chests here. So I've got a couple of test ones. I'll just deselect those, and you can manage a tool set. So if you go in here, you can import new tool sets, export tool sets you've made up, and you can add and start new tool sets. So if you go to add in here, and I can start a new one. So again, I'll just call this test 2. And you can decide here if you want to just show it in all profiles. If I currently want to display this tool set, which I do, and put it in through there. So this is my test 2 tool set. It asks me if I want to save location, so I'll just save this to my desktop and save, and okay. So now I can see I've got this test tool set here. Now there's a few different ways to add things into the tool set. So one, I can grab the item itself, and as I showed before, you can right click and add it to your tool chest. And there I've got my test 2. One of the best ways is always to go through your recent tools, and again, right click there. And you can simply drag and drop it. I don't have a lock on it, so I'll put a lock on, and there we go. So I've got that item now in my test 2 set there. So now if I want to reuse that at any time, I can just bring that in. Through the properties as well. So we have properties of each item. So if you click on the item and go to the properties, so that's always the cog there, you can again right click through, and you can start to fill in this data. So you can give it a label if you chose to, or get an area, etc. So with the label, you can change the units. So I could change that from square meters to square centimeters if I chose to, or whatever, all through here. And that's the group. So these are lines in a group. So these aren't area dimensions or anything. They are just lines that have been sketched to scale. So what I can do now is I can go to a new drawing. So I've got this project here, which has basically so this came from that TAS construction group. And all these items have been generally drawn in Bluebeam itself. So they've got all the text that they've used. They've got their line styles and their handles, and they've all come in through there. So what I could do is if I went to my tool chest now, so the first thing to do is whenever you open up a drawing is to check the scaling of it. So always go through your measurements, and you can calibrate the job. Now, when you hit calibrate, you do get the lines where it will snap to the content. So we can see here, this doesn't have an actual scale set on that. So you're always better off to look for the longest dimension you can find. So I'm going to go off this 3.1, I might go 3.5, that is a fraction longer. So obviously the longer the line, the more accurate it is, and I can select that point. Select this point at the end here, and then I can make that So it has measured it off as 136 millimeters. And I'm going to put in here that it's actually 3.560 millimeter or 3,560 millimeters, and apply that scale. And now that I've applied that scale to that job, again, if I go to my tools and sketch to scale, if I do my lines, I will see that they will fit in. So I'll just go here, and just to show how it works, I'll do a line from this point. And if I do that 500 mils, we can see that that will be the right length. So that's put that in at exactly 500 mils. So we can see how that sketch to scale is working already. And if I go to my tool chest, what I can do is actually apply a scale or set a scale to this. So if I bring that in now, we can see that's brought that in at the right size. So I'll go back here and I will check that dimension. So if I just do a measure, it's 5 meters there, and we can tell in here it's brought that in miles too small. So that's actually 5 meters long through there. So we do need to apply a scale to this. So that's where we can set the scale. And if we now input that or calibrate that scale again, and now if we bring that in, let's grab the scale. We can set different viewports on the drawing itself. So these are all at the one scale. So if I open up one of my recent drawings through here, if you do have a heap of scales on a different sheet, you can put viewports on. So if I had this at 1 to 100 and I had another scale down here at say 1 to 20, I can add different viewports to the sheet. So to do that, you go through your measurements here and you can add a viewport. So this calibration has stayed on this whole sheet here, and I can apply that to a page range as well. So I can say that I want that selected to all pages. And I can also add different viewports. So if I add a viewport here, it will come up and it will ask you to define a region for that viewport. So say if I had an area in this corner here, and you could make that go to a preset scale of 1 to 100 or 1 to 10 in that corner and apply. And then, so that sheet there now has 2 scales to it. So the general sheet, when I measure here, you'll see that it will come up as, so what I'll do is if I do a measurement here again, that will come up as a meter. And if I do a measurement in here of about that distance, we can see that that's coming up as a lot smaller. So even if I do that as a bigger dimension, it will pick up the different scale through there. What you can do is bring stuff across quite easily from Revit and the like. So in Revit, this is a Revit I've got here, just a simple Revit file. So I've got all my columns in there. So you can use this to bring the different columns in. So you could bring in like a 310 or a 360, bring those 2 columns into Revit. And then from here, just by printing to your Bluebeam PDF. So through that, and I'll just put that to my desktop. And okay. What I will do is I will set a scale on this. We probably don't really need to because we can set the scale always in Bluebeam itself, but it's a good idea just to set it through here as well. So I can put a zoom in here and set that at 100%. I'll center that as well. I'll say that to my desktop. And I've got that set through my administrator that it will open straight up. Obviously, when I printed it, I'm on a bad sheet size and haven't really set the scale. So again, I will just print that again and print it to fit. So current window set up and make sure I just fit that to page. So I'm not too worried about the scale in here because I will sort that out in the Bluebeam itself. So now I can see I've got those two members in there. If I did a measurement, say this one here was a 310 UB, I believe, I'll just check that. So 360, and the distance of that is 360 mils, 359. So I've got this in here. So when I go to measure that, you will find that it will ask me. So it's coming here at the wrong scale. So you can see that whenever I go to do a dimension, it does come up with that warning that you need to calibrate the drawing. So again, I will calibrate this, grab that distance and make that 359 millimeters. And apply that, and I can see that that's grabbed that right size now. So now that I've got that, what I can do is I can grab these items straight out. So by using G, which is our snapshot, and again, that is also through tools. So you do get it through there, just that drop down snapshot. And I can grab that beam through there. If I go back to my sketch to scale, I can paste that item in. And what I can see is that it hasn't come through at the right scale. So what I want to do is when I go back to the other one, so if I go back to project here, when I go to my toolbar, I'll see that I will be in my recent tools here. And what I can do is add that to my toolbar. So if I drag that on, then I can select it, right click and go add to tool chest. What I will do is I will quickly just make a new tool chest. So if I go under tool chest and manage, add a new tool chest. I'll call this columns. And okay. And now I can add that to my columns tool chest. So I'll see now I've got my beam in there. So if I now set a scale on this, so what I do is if I go to the project, and then I can set the scale. Oops, I'm in the wrong project. Go in here. I can calibrate this scale to the correct size. Yeah, I've sort of gone around a bit. And you can put all these items in. So once you do get the sizes there, you can have all your beams and plans in. So you can draw like plans and beam details. And it's a good idea at this stage to, when you change it, you can change it to a detail. So if you change that to detail, then through the name of the object, you can have all your sizes through there. And the same with your universal beams through here. So if I change that to a detail, I can see that I've got all the correct sizes there. And then I can bring these items on. So I've got a 180 UB there, which I can put on. And I've also got a 310 UB 40. So if I place those on, you can see that they're coming on at the right scale. So this is where you can quite easily create a 2-scale construction drawing. You can then use these as well to do like basically a simple sketch to scale, where you may have a beam coming onto a column. You can use all those features through there. So you'll see if I measure those off now, that they'll be the correct scale. And through there. And remember, you can always hyperlink. So with an item, I can add an action to an item. So what I can do is I can select this beam, for instance, and I can put an action on that, and I can hyperlink that to a catalog or etc. of that steel member. So I'm not going to do that now, but if you had the steel catalog, you could go here and you could point it to that exact catalog. So by grabbing those data sheets or those building products, you can grab that catalog, put that in as the hyperlink, and then it will come up with that little action symbol, which you can then follow through to that website. So you can do that for everything. You can also hyperlink to sheets and details. So what a lot of companies do as well is when they have the plan and elevation, you can hyperlink those items. So by putting in your text or your label. So I'll just go to markup and text box. So I can have that set there as plan. And again, I can select that and hyperlink that. So edit action, and I can point that to a different page. So I can have that jump to page 1. I think because I'm on page 1. Yeah, so I need to create a place first. What I will do is I will jump onto the chat for a bit. So I have seen some questions come in. Can you create a BOM from the hyperlinks? Yeah, I don't really, the question there, so you can create a list from it. Yeah, you'd probably need to go through the markups down the bottom here and get those, to create I think you're more saying like as a shop detailing thing. So with the bringing in these beams, they do come in as items. So you can get these out. A bill of materials, you could get a count of them. So like for each one I put on, say if I did place another one of those, I'll just go here to place another steel beam. So if I place a 180 steel beam there, you'll see that they're coming up in my markups here. What you would probably want to do is add them to a layer. So if I right click, I can put these all on a layer. So you can use these sort of as per a, almost like an AutoCAD layer. So all those, they've gone on the steelwork layer. So what I can do is I can then filter my markup lists. So you could really sort of trick it a bit and make sure that I only saw the steelwork layer ones, and that would give me like a very rough sort of bill of materials and account. So again, if I do pull in like another 610 UB 113, I'll see now that I'm getting, I'll put that on the other page. That's why it's come there on the page, but it's, you can see how it, you would need to sort of play with the markups and actually have it to make off the counts, but you can see if I did put in another 310 or another 610 UB, like it's actually created two, like they're two of the one. It's not really doing that count as such because they are separate markups. So as I add each one in, it's not really doing that. But if I exported that out, I could get it to sort of show as a count. So it'd be quite rough as a bill of materials. But yeah, you can isolate stuff through the markups here and by filtering your markup list. So if I take those filters off, you sort of get every markup that everyone's put on. And through your markup list at the bottom, you can jump to every item as well. So you can see where people have done certain sketches and the like through there. So that's where it's a good idea to use like subject status and all these features through the markups list, which you can change these columns as well. So any data that you wanted to put in, you can make custom columns, whatever, it's all through here and your columns, and you can select what you want to show. And you can also manage these columns and make new columns and even custom columns with formulas and the like. So you can make a formula using like some simple Excel formulas through here. And that's a good way to do, I won't go into it here, but that's where you can do like areas, and you can actually assign dollar values to different areas. So you can assign a numerical value to an area. So tiling, you can have it as sort of $2.50 a square meter, which is pretty cheap. So you could have that as your area and then have the count through there where it would times out the area of the area and give you a value. So that's where a lot of people can use this for quite comprehensive, like quantity takeoffs. Yeah. So yeah, I wonder if there's a few in the chat as well. Some people are using chat. So yeah, dockable menus, yeah. So you can yeah. So yeah, just with the sketch to scale on a drawing PDF, yeah, you don't really need to apply the template to it. Yeah, do you apply the template to it prior to sketching the scale? Yeah, so you do need to just set that through there. So Yeah, so what you can do as well is through the documents, you can set up what a lot of people are doing now is setting up dashboards and the like. So if you set up a dashboard, you can then use those hyperlinks to point to different items over there. So to do that, you can, so I'll show a quick way to hyperlink like to stuff in a set. So you can use like PowerPoint or the like, or get a simple image. And from then you can hyperlink areas. So I'll just open up an image that I have. So if you search just through, I think you've got there, if you've got Bluebeam dashboard image, if you go to something like that, there are a lot of ones you can just get off the internet. So if you go to images, you can get a digital dashboard. I won't use the Lend-Lease one. And you can simply copy and paste that dashboard. So if I now paste that onto a new sheet, so I'll go to my sketch to scale project here. So what I can do is at the start of that, I can add a new sheet. So if I just insert blank page, I'll make it A3 size. Landscape and okay. And I can again move that. So I'm going through the tool thumbnails here and I've moved that to the front page there. And I can put on my dashboard here. I can size that to fit. And that's now become my sort of front page there. And again, you can use this just as a simple, so hyperlink area. So what you can do is you can go to your tools and go to hyperlink. So what we're doing is we're not really selecting the area because this whole image is part of the image. So if I went there and right clicked and put an action on this, that would action the whole area. So what I want to do is actually action specific areas on this. So if I go to my tools first and then hyperlink, and it will actually come up with a little crosshair. So I can then make that sort of go to a certain area. So I can grab that area there. So that I want this to jump to page 1 and okay. Or I can, so that will take me to that area on the page. You, like obviously you'd probably want to point that to a different sheet. So if I went to tools again and markup and hyperlink, sorry, shift and H for hyperlink. And you can grab different parts of the then hyperlink or open a document as well. So you can path it to open a new folder. So this is where you can use like Studio Project to sort of link it to a new folder or a new file and point through to a set of documents. So I can get that to point to my then if I select on that, that will actually open up that project. So it's quite a good idea to have one of these set up for your project where you can have it pointing to different documents and the like through your Bluebeam. So that's dashboards. And you can use anything. You can make up your own like image, obviously. So you'd set that up and have your project home catalog. You would point stuff to the forum as well, and to a help, you may hyperlink that to your intranet help. And you may also have links to like the project as a whole. You could link to photo sites, etc. through there. Yep. Okay, so I might open up the floor now to some questions. We're about 10 to 2, so we're about due to finish. So I will just, if anyone wants to yell out any questions, that's a good time to do it now in the chat. Yeah, so again, someone, yeah, just about that sketch to scale over a drawing sent to you. Yeah, so if you did get any issues sent, it is just always a matter of opening up that PDF and getting out the relevant information. So this is just a drawing that's coming from our set, and it's the Autodesk sample. So what I can see is I've got a few different scales here. I've got no scale set on through the thumbnails. So as soon as I go to do any dimension, it's going to ask me straight away what to calibrate. So it's going to let me do the dimension. So again, you just want to find out, I do have a scale there, but again, like I can't really trust the scale because these may have been printed out too big or too small. So if I do a measurement from there to there, I know that I'm going from 3 meters to 9 meters. So I can calibrate. And so you do get asked that straight away, and I can put in 6 meters and apply that scale. So that's applied that scale to this whole sheet. So if I do go to something that's at a smaller scale, so I can see that this is, that's at the same scale, but if I go to 1 to 10, again, I can do that measurement on it, and that's not going to be an accurate measurement. So it's come up there as saying that I've got a meter square wall, which it's obviously not a meter square. And that's where you'd have to apply your viewports. So to do that, it is a matter of, it's all under the measurement tab under the panel access. And again, you can add a viewport, define these different regions. So I'll put in there 1 to 10, but it's not going to be a 1 to 10 scale, you'll find. So in there, I haven't calibrated that one. So that's where you'd need to get a measurement across here, or just something that you know of as. So if I used one of the preset ones here, or the preset one, and I did make that 1 to 25, or 1 to 10 it is, sorry. So if I made that 1 to 10 and applied that scale through there, I can see how that's actually updated that size. So it's coming off that's 100, nearly 100 mil through there. And then that's all about. So it does remember these viewports, and sometimes you can get too many viewports over the one drawing. So you may need to come in here to your calibrate and to clear those viewports. So that's where you can clear them through there. If someone's done them correctly, you can clear all from document. So, and I can add another new viewport for this region here, which is even smaller again. So that's at 1 to 25. And obviously I can't get the 1 to 25 there, but I can go to custom and go 1 to 25. And now I've got the different viewports on the right, and it does remember them all. So anywhere you do a dimension, if I do it here, it's going to get it at 1 to 100. If I do it in here, it's going to get it at that scale. And if I do it here, it's going to get it at the 1 to 10 scale. So that's where I can see it's applied all those viewports over the project. So, yep, so someone's asking, when layering, is there an easy way to select multiple items? The easiest way to do it is to select those items. So what I can do, I'll just go in here. So this drawing has currently got no layers on it. So I can add a new layer. So I can add a new layer before or after. So I'll just make them simple. I'll just call it 1 and I'll make another one and just call this dims. And it's a good idea to always use your markup list down the bottom here. So what I can do is I can simply hold Control down or shift down to add and Control to clear it. So Control will select the next one. So shift down to add the items in. So I can select all those and I can right click, select all those and then go through your markups list down here and you can change the layer. So I can select all them and right click down here and change my layer to the dims layer. And then once I have them on that layer, I can also turn them off reasonably easily. So I can turn those set of dimensions off through that layer. So it's a matter of just grabbing them all through the markups and right click and change layer. You can change them individually by just going, and it's always good just to go through your markups list down the bottom. And that's an easy way too. You can sort of see who made the changes, see where they are, see the dimension, the comments that had it. And you can also jump straight to each one through there as well. So as you select through, it will select each of those dimensions. So that's another good way to get to them. And we do have, I'll just check the chat again. I think that was pretty much it on the questions. Yeah. So that's it for the demonstration today. I'll just go back to our, so we do provide a lot of stuff. We do discovery sessions as well, discovery workshops where we can come in and check out any of the workflows you're doing, and anywhere where you are using paper, we can start to sort of make sure that people are using Bluebeam to its full potential. So a lot of people in there, they just take simple dimensions and they don't hatch the areas, etc. So anything you do, you can save to your tool chest and use that to get everyone working on the same tool chests. You can then push those tool chests out to everyone in your company. So once you get a proper tool chest ready to go, you can then share that company-wide and have everyone using the same areas, same dimensions and the like. You can change all that very easily. It's also a good idea. You can put all your company logos, company title sheets, etc., and use them as items on your tool chest, where you can simply drag and drop your logos onto a sheet and almost start to create drawings through Bluebeam itself. We do rapid starts and integration as well, and offered standards. We also create manuals and do Blueburst webinars like this. We do have a few more webinars coming up on different topics. Please check the A2K website on where those are. That's it. I think we've pretty much covered questions. If anyone has any more, feel free to email me or go through your A2K provider, Cloud A2K. Thank you all for attending. Hopefully you got a fair bit out of it and planted some new ideas and ways to use Bluebeam. And please reach out if you've got any questions or issues. So thank you all. And that is the end.